Can't say so. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to True Crime Friday.
This is a little bit different this week, so we're jumping on just
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out this technical stuff.
Yeah, we need a tech guy. You guys, we need you to like and subscribe so that we can monetize, so that we can hire a tech guy.
Yeah,
For reals.
I'm pretty good, but like some stuff. But anyways, so we're streaming JFK show tonight because we were guests on his show recently to talk about the Su Taraskiewicz case, which, as you know, we're talking about this in depth here. Yep. We've been doing this. I'm writing a book on the case, and we went on a JFK show because he's been talking about it too. And JFK Show Off's a great show. They're a great group of guys.
Yep, they're on YouTube, so you can go over there and give him a sub as well. So that show ended up being literally like a total of 4.5 hours. They do really, really long streams. We only usually do an hour. So what we're doing tonight is we're streaming about 2 hours of us on their show. If you want to catch the full show, you'll have to.
We do.
Yeah.
Because we dance and get really silly and
yeah.
And some clothes come off.
Yeah, not ours.
But the boys, some shirts might come off.
Yeah, so we did about 2 hours ish, and then if you want to continue on, you can just jump over there and forward through what you've already watched, because I really basically cut it right before we started to go into our dance party. So
goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, I could have let it run, but we usually don't do 4-hour streams.
Yeah, we're gonna go to bed. So, but like we encourage you to do it. We stayed up late that night. That was enough with them. No, we're gonna do it again.
Oh yeah,
we have to get prepared. We're in training.
Yeah. We need much more preparation to know that we're gonna be dancing. I was sweating.
No, I know I was too. I looked at my hair at the end. I was like, whoa, God.
Oh my God. I was like, it was crazy. So
check this out. We're talking to them, and he's actually a really good interview. He's really pressing us to get some of the info that we know, which we had to sort of hold the line on.
Yeah, it was like, we're under a little bit of a gag order. We can't share, which I know that, as he said, because he kind of went over it again the next day on his live, and he said, we know that you guys are probably frustrated a little bit because they couldn't share what they know. I'm going to have to talk to those girls offline, he said. So we understand that there's certain things we can't share, and that's annoying, but it's for the greater good.
For the greater good. We're hoping this is for the greater good. So bear with us, and what we know, you will know at some point.
So. Yeah. So give it a watch. Like we said, if you hit your cap at 2.5 hours, then great, log off. If you want to continue to watch us chair dance and the boys strip down, you jump on over to JFK's channel
and like and subscribe to us. Please like and subscribe to them. They're a great show. He does a lot of great things for kids. DSS talks about the system. He does other true crime things, and he does tons of awesome music,
corruption stuff.
Lots of corruption stuff. We found him through Karen Reed.
Yeah,
that whole thing. And he's from the North Shore, so give him a sub, give him a like. Membership, join. You'll love these guys.
Yeah, and we want to say thank you so much to them for having us on and allowing us to be entertaining with them for hours on end, and we can't wait to do it again.
We can't wait. So enjoy. Let us know what you think.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Killer, you ain't killing, boy. Couple stacks on the gram, you ain't killing, boy. Feds watching, you know they got your picture, boy.
There we go. We got one up in here.
Hi.
This is Kerry, I take it, right?
Yep.
What up, Kerry? Waiting on Diane, right?
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
You gave us the wrong link, I think.
I gave you the wrong link. I just hit myself with the clown bomb, all right? So I took care of that. I took full accountability.
Yeah, we were like, we're back here. I don't know.
Wow, I gave you the wrong link. Yeah, thank you.
It's all right.
Oh, man. Welcome, Kerry. Welcome to the show. Peace. Thanks for coming up tonight. So happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Diane should be here any second. I don't know if she maybe didn't grab the link. Hold on.
That's all right. We take our time with that. It's fine. Kerry, ladies and gentlemen, from Wicked Honest Podcast, you guys can go there right now and go subscribe to the Wicked Honest Podcast because they are wicked honest.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yes, for sure. Let me do this. So Kerry, you guys been let me put you up here. You've been talking about this Susan Taraskiewicz case real deep.
Taraskiewicz.
How do you say it again? Perfect.
Taraskiewicz.
Taraskiewicz.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Taraskiewicz.
Yeah, I keep saying it. I kill that name every time. That name's
It's a tough name.
one.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. We'll just say Susan for the sake of Susan.
That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you been into this case for?
So Diane really started with this because she'll tell you, but she's an author. She's already written a couple books, Silence in the Sound and The Summer Before. And she really, I grew up in Winthrop. She grew up in Revere. So we drove by these billboards for years and years and years. My dad's shop was on Addison Street in East Boston. So it was at the end of the street. And, for her, it always haunted her, and she always wanted to write about it. But she doesn't write true stories. She writes fact fiction, I think it's called, or it's like based on a true story, but there is some fiction in there where this is just such a completely different genre for her. But she kept putting it off, I think because of that. But she ended up having like a serendipitous connection with one of the retired police. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Revere. She can speak to that, Revere or one of the state troopers, but they knew she was an author and they wanted to tell the story. So they reached out to her actually. And she was like, this is so strange because this has been bothering me my whole life. And once she started talking to him, it was game over. She's been investigating it. She's turning over stuff. I have to give her the credit. I wish she was here. I don't know what's happening. She's probably trying to get on. But I have to give her the credit. I mean, she's writing a book on it, obviously. So in that we have a little bit of OCD, a little bit of armchair detective type stuff going on where she's like, no, I'm going to figure this out. And she has figured out stuff that hasn't been uncovered in 30 years. So yeah. And she's working with those two cops as well. She's reached out to the state police multiple times. She's not getting anything back. She's done FOIA requests, nothing, denied. So it's a little scary because I think we thought we were just going to kind of tell the story and, go over the case, but we ended up kind of being in the mix of it. Like we're actually like boots on the ground. We're going to meet with people that were part of the ring and things like that. So it's definitely a little bit more than part of the credit card ring. To be clear,
part of the credit card ring. So you actually met up with people who did time or got some type of probation. Have you done that yet?
Yeah, so we didn't meet up with anybody that did time, but we met up with some people that didn't get caught. And that's why right now we're kind of everything.
Probably a couple people I know.
Oh, 100% a couple people, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and that's what everybody was so nervous for us. They're like, oh, send us your location and this and that. And, we said on our podcast, like, you don't have to worry about us taking care of ourselves. You might have to worry about us staying out all night with them and drinking beers because that's probably what we'd end up doing. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, we're talking to people that actually didn't get indicted. Some people that know the real stories and some people that were just behind the scenes and kind of heard and saw things and things like that. So did she message you?
I just hit her up. She said, you see us, right? And I just said a link is pinned. So she's not answering. I don't know. Maybe she's out just, figuring things out. I just hit her up in the inbox. So we'll see. So as we journey on, let me ask you this. I went out to where it happened. Have you been down to the space where it happened yet?
Yeah.
And just been in that. Nothing changed over there. You're from Winthrop, so you know.
Yeah,
nothing really
the
changed.
Beach Spot roast beef isn't there anymore, which is probably the saddest thing out of the whole story because they had the best food in the whole world.
Yeah. My man Giorgio.
Yeah, that place was amazing. But I've been. I mean,
and they took pizza out too. They took pizza out too.
I know. There's no good food anymore.
They took pizza out down the Ave. So
Yeah.
she's backstage. Hold on, Diane. It says your device is not connect. It says your device is not connected. You got to connect, Diane. So what I'm gonna do is, Diane, I'm gonna kick you for a second, and you got to come back in. You got to come back in, and you got to connect your device. Sometimes StreamYard be acting up, so just try to come back in again. Sorry for the wait, ladies. Yeah, they took Pete's out. They took Beach One out, but down the block, down the Linway, they got Buzzy's roast beef over there in Lynn now, which is pretty good. Right,
Yeah,
right
there's
there on
another
the Linway.
there's another one in Lynn that's really, really good too. I
What,
forget the name of it.
Minos and Wyoming
Yeah, I
Square.
love Minos. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Minos.
yeah,
I lived in
Minos.
Swampscott for a little while.
Yeah, nice.
I wonder if is it maybe because I'm on our StreamYard account? There's only
No,
one person.
I think she'll figure it out. She should figure it out. We got Kevin
Okay.
Kev here. He's our tech.
Hi, Kevy. I just want to dance with you guys, really.
How
I
you
mean, I
doing?
want to talk
Yeah.
about this, but we need to dance too.
Yeah. Oh, we got that. We got you. You got any
yeah, so-
questions on Kevin Kev?
You know, I mean, it's you know, I find it. I mean, I remember, you know, a lot of this, you know, being advertised. I remember that the billboard and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's? I mean, how long have you been kind of going over the case? You say?
So we started going over the case, her and I joined her when we decided to do it on the podcast, because we do our podcast on Tuesday nights, and it's really just like fun and funny and like random stuff. And then when she started to take this on, she said, do you think sorry, my dog is interrupting us. Ah, there she is.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
She's wicked honest. She is. What up, Diane? What up, girl?
I'm so glad you're wearing a wife beater. I know we're not supposed to. I don't know.
We
if
had a
we're
whole
supposed to say
episode about
that.
this.
But thank God. I'm like sweaty and stuff,
Me
trying
too.
to get on, and I've been seeing you in that. I'm fine.
Oh well, yeah. You know, I'm good in a wife beater. You know what I mean? I'm good in a
That's
beater.
right.
Oh,
You know what
you're
I mean?
good. Oh, you're good in a wife beater. You're good.
I'm good in a wife beater. You know, I'm
Jay
good.
Brill
I'm
and
good.
Kevy Kev, go put on your wife beaters.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
no,
out
no,
here
you
in
guys-
Georgia.
you
It's
guys are
hot as hell
fine.
out here. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. That was just so stressful. I was trying to get on, and I'm like, oh my! It kept blocking my microphone and camera. So I apologize.
Nah. It's all good. I messed up. I had hit myself with the clown bomb. I gave you guys the wrong link. That was my fault. I was moving too fast. Yeah, thank you, Kev. So we just Kerry put us up on game about how you were speaking to a police officer, and you really dug deep into this, and you guys are talking to people that were caught up in the credit card ring. Can you give us a little backstory on how you got into this case, seeing that you're from Revere? So you're from Revere. I actually lived on Caruso Court in Asti Ave for like 11 years. So I was right there. Right when you go under the bridge on Sergeant Street, the left, I was right there next to that cemetery. So all I did was see that billboard of her the whole time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I seen that for years. I was over there in Revere for a while. How did you get into this, and what made you want to get into it? This case.
I think like you just said, that billboard, anyone even from the area, that billboard was there. We've talked about how many years. It must have been like 10 years. These billboards were there, and you know, growing up in the city, you just. And Sue is about 10 years older than me, and I think you too, JFK. And it just, that face looking down on me, it haunted me, and
Yeah.
I also think that you know, where we're from, the North Shore, and I know you're from Lynn, and I think all of us can say, well, Winthrop isn't Kerry, sorry, but
Okay.
but we're from you know, blue collar sort of rough towns. A lot of us grew up with little.
Let's be clear. I love Winthrop. Winthrop.
Oh, I love Winthrop too. I love
Winthrop
Winthrop.
is the
I
shit.
don't know that it was so, you know, rough and tumble as.
Well, yeah, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You know what I mean? You can put it near the water and give it a yacht club, but it doesn't. It's the same old, same old.
If you walk past Belle Isle and go creep up to Orient Heights, and you know you're right there in the mix, right by the projects in East Boston. If you take that walk, And
Yeah,
they
I
had the
took that
little
walk too
crosses.
many times.
They had the.
You
They
don't
had
even
the.
you don't even have to hit that. You just hit like we were like people that were going for walks in Belle Isle Marsh because they made it all a nice walkway. My mother's car got they tried to steal it. I don't know how they didn't steal it. It was like an old Buick, but there was and my boyfriend was like, I can fix that, and he just comes with his screwdriver because he always had one in his pocket.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, that was part of that. That was, some people had Rolexes and, other people had Stanleys and Craftsmen,
That's right.
sitting tight.
That's how it was.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the billboard got you into this case, just like many of us. Like what happened, right?
Yeah, and I think as I was saying, that where we're from, and I think we all collectively can say this, there's players, there's hustlers, there's people in the game and all the stuff and everything. And back in the day, there was some gangster ties and mob ties and all these things and just even small crews, big crews, whatever. But there really was something when after that, her murder happened, it really collectively felt, and the two officers that I'm working with, it really, well, the one that is from Revere, really felt the same, that there was such a shift in the community in the North Shore at that time. It really felt like something went awry and something changed because, there's codes, there's things you don't do, there's lines you don't cross. And somehow you just sort of knew a line was crossed. And that's sort of how it felt. And I'm not sure that I could have articulated that at the time, but that's how it felt in the area.
Yeah.
Something changed. And then you had this billboard just hovering over you for 10 years, sort of like shame, that this like a stain on the area. And I never forgot it. And as much as my life just went in a different trajectory, when I started writing, and I've written 3 books, fiction inspired by actual events, and really inspired by my life, like gritty New England voice and a lot of North Shore, Boston, and I lived on Martha's Vineyard for a time, a little bit of a juxtaposition, but this book, this sort of just, I always thought about writing it if I wanted to really challenge myself, and I don't take this lightly at all. And then I had a friend who reached out to me. Her cousin is a retired Revere police officer, and he wanted to talk to me. And I'm always like, okay, retired Revere police officer, because the Revere police already have their own issues, because that's always interesting. What's an RPD have to say? Because that department was a disaster in the 90s, and who knows how long or how early. I think we all, JFK, Kevy, we all probably know that. I know Jay Brill. Hi, Jay Brill. You're from a little bit further away, but so I was just so interested. And then when he reached out to me and he wanted to talk about this case, because when you write books, sometimes people they're like, oh, like they reach out to you. I get some strange calls sometimes, and then he wanted to talk about this case, and he actually wrote a book sort of fictionalized about this case a little bit. Didn't get a lot of traction, but so we started talking, and him and one of the retired officers that worked this case, an MSP detective investigator, worked this case early on, and he's at the end of the road. His health's completely declining, and he's held on to this case for years, and this is his baby. He has files and everything. And he sat with the mother and made a promise, which is something you do not do as a cop. And he said, I promise you, I will never give up on this case. He was a father of a daughter, and I write in my book, and I think we talk about, I think we all grown up. I don't talk to cops. We don't talk to cops. But I'm talking to cops, and these are 2 honest cops, and they really are. They really are not, and they struggled in being cops because of that. So it really is them and us together, and that's what's really just got this rolling.
Right. So you talk to these police officers, and what do they have to say? And like, do they? Now, I did a video. I introed this whole this live stream with the video that I did. I haven't got to the part yet where I actually went behind Suffolk Downs, and I actually talked to a gentleman from back in that time, that because I've been back there. I took that left right over where Target is now and all that cuts down to to the what's the name of that street right there? It's I forget. I have it on there. I forget the name of it off top, but that street's always been there. But back in the 90s, I remember I went down there. It was rocky down there, and there was a bunch of trucks back there and things like that. But yeah, you know, I was thinking that maybe.
Muted.
Am I muted?
I can't hear anything.
You
What
went
did I-
mute when Kev went mute.
What happened? We crashed out.
I hear you all.
Are we
I
good?
can't hear anything.
We good? No?
I hear you.
You hear me?
I hear you.
What happened?
JFK's mute.
I hear
What did
her.
I pause up? Hold on. I think we paused up or something. Something happened. And I'm still messed up? Hold on a
Can't hear
second.
you.
Give me a second. Give me a second.
I heard all
Was
of
it
you.
him? No.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can't.
No.
Can you hear? Okay. Okay. Just
You
making
can't
sure.
hear me though.
I'm right here. Can you hear me? My back? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you and I hear them, but they can't hear me.
Oh,
So
Can't
they
hear
might
you.
have to
They
get out and come back in.
oh, so they can't hear me? You can hear me though?
I hear you. I hear all of you.
Oh, and them two. Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do?
They
That's
can't
what
hear
happened.
me. Those two
For
can't
some
hear
re-
me.
For some reason, that so what I'm gonna do is they can't hear you. Hold on, I'm gonna do
They
this.
can't hear me.
Hold on. Yeah, what's the deal, dude? Man, we getting something happening with this damn YouTube shit. Let me do this. I'm gonna have to kick him for a
Oh,
second.
I can't hear.
Yo, you can hear me?
I hear you perfectly fine. I heard all of
And that-
them. They didn't hear me, but me and you heard each other.
Kevy did so, like Kevy jumped out, and when he fell out, his thing was
They
spinning. Did you
muted
see it?
them. Yeah.
And it muted them. Wow.
Or it muted us from them so they couldn't hear us.
Yeah, and then I just try to put a comment up, and it. Yeah, she's back. You can hear me now, right?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. If for some reason or another, Kevy's I had to kick you guys. Kevy's when Kevy jumped off or whatever, it muted everybody up. It like messed up the connection or something.
No,
like
I saw that happen to you before because I watched
That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tech stuff, and I hate the flow with things like that. But that's the price you pay, right? We'll just wait for Kerry to jump back in. I'm sorry that I had to kick you guys, but so what happened with me was I went to the back of where Target was for a long road, right? And
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe possibly she made it to Beachmont roast beef. Did they have any idea when you talk to these police? Have they ever said where it might have happened? Did they ever bring that up to you, or do they even, you know, what do they think happened? Do you have a theory?
The police that I'm talking to, I've been down a path that I've been led to through them, and it's confirmed and gone a certain way, and I have done a ton of work in a very short period of time that found out a very credible information that Mass State Police is aware of. I am told, and that is also very credible, except the person has lawyered up because they're looking for federal immunity, and we have met with someone and multiple people. I found people have changed names, people have moved out of state. It's a lot of people are scared, but there is a lot happening. there's a lot
Yeah, sounds
happening
it.
in a very short period of time.
So let me ask you this: is Joseph Nunzo alive or is he dead? I heard that he was dead. Some people saying he's alive. He's alive?
He's alive. He's very
Oh.
close. and he's got a family and lived his living, by all appearances, a normal life.
Normal life, yeah.
And then you guys can't get a hold of him? Did you guys? I know you guys tried.
We have tried, yep. We have tried, and the officers I'm involved with, has tried. Yep. No, he and wanted to offer him, the officer that worked the case actually, obviously spoke with him early on and actually gave him a ride home one day when he found him broken down on the road. But yeah, we wanted to give him a chance to clear his name, and we still do. We'd love to talk to him, and he was a suspect for a reason. Obviously, he was indicted for the credit card ring and did serve time, and he also was heavily involved in the harassment.
Yep.
with Sue. Then that was a whole case that she won. The family won. I'm sorry, after she passed.
Yeah.
They won a settlement.
$75,000.
Yeah.
Yes, and they also had they also went after the union too, and I just want to let everyone know the union plays a big part in this as well, and that'll much more to the story with that. There's lots of connections, and I think, again, I'm going to keep going back to sort of where we're from, and Carrie always says it's the Whitey Billy Bulger effect. There's it's like 6 degrees of separation. There's always like a brother that's in the law. There's a relative or someone in law enforcement in the court system or something, and the other one is involved in some crime or something like that. And you're going to find a lot of that in this case, and it's very interesting. It does not mean at all that there's that doesn't mean anything. It just, you're going to find it interesting that there's some connections to people in this case with different degrees in the court system and law enforcement and such.
We go over it pretty in depth, like throughout our episodes. We start to unravel from beginning to end all of the different things that are going on, because you'd think that it's like Diane said, like, when you're investigating, now you can have a little bit of respect for these people that are doing these these murder investigations and things like that. It's like every time you think something should just be easily cleared, this one little fact stands out and it's so crazy. And you're like, wait a minute, what? Like the fact that, it happens all the time, because I was learning about this. She's really the expert on the story. She really is not, she's researched it for the book, and she's in it, and she pulled me into it, but I wanted to learn it in real time with the rest of the people watching, so that I could try to ask some questions that I thought that maybe the viewers might be wondering. So we kind of do it like that, where she kind of fills me in live. I know some stuff, obviously, but because I meet with people with her and things like that, but she kind of fills me in as the time goes on, so I can ask the questions that the viewers might want to see. And every time we go down one avenue and I think it's just like going to be easily cleared, she's like, oh, but then he did this. And I'm like, what? Like, it's just always like, you think this, well, first I always say, it's, no offense, guys, but I always say it's always the guy, like definitely her boyfriend, definitely it was her ex-boyfriend or something like that, that's my go-to. So that's the first people that I want to look at. And then, she's like, okay, well, we have to clear this person. We have to go through and clear each person. And every time you get to a person and you're like, okay, it's definitely not him, then there's just this one thing that stands out that throws a whole wrench in it. And you're like, okay, I can't even rule that out. So it's difficult, but we're unfolding it. And that's what we do on the podcast. Well, on the YouTube show is we start from the very beginning, and we're going through it with like a fine tooth comb. So it's like a lot of repeating, a lot of trying to make sure everybody understands. And we're going to go down ad nauseum, every avenue.
Yeah, we're familiar with that process for sure.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. Let me swing around the room. Diane, what do you think happened to Susan Taraskiewicz? Did I say it right?
No,
Taraskiewicz?
you
What am I
don't say
saying?
it right.
I say it wrong every time, huh? How do you say it again?
You say two things wrong, and trust and believe. I love you. I love you.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me.
Suffolk Downs. No,
not Suffix.
It's suffix.
Suffolk.
No, Suffolk.
Nope, just a K.
Oh, Suffolk. Okay. But I've been saying Suffolk Downs my whole life, though. Suffolk Downs.
My mother has too. I grew up in.
Everybody says Suffolk Downs.
Says Suffolk Downs.
Yeah. So it's Suffolk Downs. Wow.
Suffolk Downs.
Yeah, you just blew my mind on that one. I don't even think like that. I always thought, hey, listen, man, I know about. Listen, I used to go shopping in Serotinis, man. That's how old school I am.
Same.
All
We
right.
used to walk there.
Yeah. All right. So I can say that. I got the VIP. But how do you say her last name? 100%.
Taraskiewicz.
Taraskiewicz.
No, Wits.
Taraskiewicz. Now I'm saying it wrong.
Is it Wicks
Taraskiewicz.
or Wicks?
No, Wits, like
Wits. Yeah, Wits.
Wits,
Like you have your wits about you.
W-I-C-Z.
Yeah. So it's Taraskiewicz.
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 Taraska. Oh, like mascara. Taraskiewicz.
There you go.
Taraskiewicz.
There you go.
Taraska.
Like Taraska, W-I-T-Z.
Oh, okay.
Wicz.
Taraskiewicz. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And it's crazy because when I was doing the video, I knew I was kind of saying it wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, man, I couldn't hit. The thing was, I was trying to find someone that said it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm going through YouTube videos trying to find people who said it and no one ever said it. Like,
No,
they
I
wouldn't-
get it.
like,
Even
and I'm like,
spelling
man.
it, like obviously the spell check. And you
Oh,
look
God.
at it. At first, before I, writing, I'm like constantly spelling it wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same.
It's a tough name.
Yeah, it is. It's a tricky one, but
Yeah,
we're here
it
for the
is.
right reasons. What do you think happened to Susan?
Well,
This is interesting.
I'm not sure how to answer this because
Yeah.
Can you answer this? Did I say? I don't want you to answer something.
I
that you
feel
might
like
be
we
knee-deep.
probably know what happened to her more than anything that's ever come out that's happened. And I can't say anything yet.
Yeah.
I want to preface this by I have reached out personally to Mass State Police multiple times to be able to let them know what I'm doing and I don't want to ever hinder this case, the family as well. And the officer that I am one of them that I'm working with that works the case did reach out to her sister, and I think they're very tired, as we all can imagine. But Mass State Police has not gotten back to me, and I have uncovered a lot, and we are very close. We're close to maybe actually getting any type of movement. I'm not sure how. My brother's an attorney too, so I'm not sure how, I speak with him often, and he's been on our show, how much we can do because of the credibility of a witness and witnesses we've spoken with. But we have a very good understanding of what happened that night.
And we're trying like hell to figure out some way to make
Justice happen.
something happen. Yeah. It's
Something.
difficult. Yeah.
Well, the power of the live stream is something too, and the power of the internet and public perception. A lot of these guys, someone like Joe, if you're watching Nunzo, and your brother, I know your brother used to go to the gym with your brother. You got the SL. I know who your brother is. I think his brother's Eddie, right? Is that his brother? Eddie Nunzo with the perm? I forget his name. Was that his name? What was his name? You guys remember?
His name's Nuzzo.
Nuzzo, yeah.
Nuzzo, Nuzzo. I'm saying Nunzo.
I knew
Nuzzo.
a Nunzo, but
No,
I don't
Nuzzo.
know. I don't know his brother.
Yeah, Joseph Nuzzo. I'm saying everybody's name wrong. I'm caught up in like 5 different cases. That's why. So
Yeah.
Joseph Nuzzo.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah,
We
so
do
Joseph
too on our
Nuzzo.
show. We do it too. We do it wrong too.
Yeah, so
We do
Nuzzo.
everything.
Are you familiar with Missy Beach? Kerry? She's from I don't know if you know her name's her real name's Michelle, but she's from she has a lot of information about this case. She digs deep in it. She's the one that talked about the brother. The brother walked the beach. I don't know if you know this guy. He's a revered dude. He had the perm, and he got the Ultimate Warrior, like the old muscle pants and shit. And he used to drive the Corvette, and he had the perm with the big mustache, and now he's got a Benz, an SL Benz. You know what I'm talking about?
Tina.
I feel like I know who that. I feel like I'm familiar.
Diane's like, I feel like I might have dated him before.
Yeah, did you?
I
Probably.
grew up on Revere Beach.
He used to walk the beach. Yeah, he walked the beach probably every
I
day.
think his name's Fran, right? His name's Fran. That was his name, Fran. That's what they called him.
How old is he?
He's older. He's in his 70s now. His name's Fran. I think that was
Yeah,
his
I
name.
think my father knew him. I think my father. I think I know who that is. He
Yeah,
knows
so I
about
think
the case.
no, that's
No,
his brother, Nuzzo's brother, Joseph Nuzzo's brother.
Oh.
Yeah, newsflash. What you
There's
believe?
there's also a lot of like, I think the other thing too is there's a lot of main suspects in this case that lots of people got stuck on. You know, there's a lot of people that are named in these filings, and they had grand juries and they weren't able to indict and things like that. And like even Joe and Sean, the cops, like they all had their favorite person and they all really got stuck on that person. And I, just keep in mind, sometimes it's not always these people that.
So you're saying that are you saying to us that Joseph Nuzzo and Brooks had nothing to do with this shit? It's somebody totally different. Like they're not the
No.
like we.
No.
not saying
I'm just
that?
I
saying
will tell you
this.
this.
Yeah.
Well, from what I already explained, what we're.
No,
we
I
have-
get it.
We have knowledge of what maybe happened. I think if you've researched the case at all, there's many inside the airport. Things all went down and were transpiring at a certain time very quickly. So Sue, really quick rundown. Sue had she had two relationships at the airport. And then she also got involved in a church that was very.
Yeah, she was in Danvers.
The Church of Christ.
It was in
It
Danvers, right?
moved around a bit. It wasn't
Really?
There was no
Yeah.
brick and mortar. They had like Bible studies at houses and stuff. It was called the Church of Christ, and it was nationally too. But
It was a scam. Was it a scam?
Some people called it cultish because, and I've spoken to her last relationship before she ended up deceased, that he was involved in it. That's where they met. And people called it that because it was one of those churches where they asked you to recruit. So, and he didn't even feel that great about that. So the airport, when you find, I did my research and dug a lot, and I have some help. Some in this church, there were people from the airport at this church, Northwest Airlines. There was about 4 of them. So there was things that happened.
It's overlapping
with the airport. She dated someone, and I don't know if I think she recruited him. Things that were happening at the time with the church and the people. So, and her faith was very strong, and she was trying to like change. It appeared that she was.
Wasn't she going to leave the airport and she just passed the fireman exam over there in Swampscott?
She did. The Swampscott thing is accurate. She was going to be an on-call firefighter, not a full-time firefighter, like a volunteer firefighter, which she liked to do jobs that challenged her, like male
dominant.
At the time, male-dominated roles. And I don't think that's what she was seeking, but she liked to prove herself. And the harassment that was happening at work, she also...
Good point. I don't mean to say that's a good point.
Yeah,
it
was.
Becky just said. Wasn't her cross was missing? So are you saying that it possibly could be somebody at this church too?
I'm telling you all of
the things it could be.
Go ahead. Break it down.
So the church, there was an event at the church that a man in a white truck pulled up, and she was absolutely terrified. So I know the Mass State Police were really looking into that and questioning people about that. The boyfriend or the man she was dating that was at the airport and also at the church, he had a truck, wasn't a white truck, and we were looking at that for a long time, and I finally found out it was a black truck. So no, we could never find that white truck, but we found a lot more info. But then the harassment too, she's living this, she's not telling her family, like she's not. And Carrie and I have discussed this multiple times as being a woman at that time. And you forget about this stuff and I like to think of myself as sort of street smart and everything. And Sue really played by the book. Like she was like, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And, that black and white thinking. And sometimes, as much as I don't ever want to blame the victim, you cannot blame the victim in this at all. But sometimes Carrie and I always talk about, we wish that God, like, because she filed grievances when she had to. The union was not her friend. The union wanted people, the women, to shut up, it seemed like. They were very difficult. And the union rep, and I will give you this little piece of information. And there was a lot of sticking points, especially her mother, Marlene, went on a podcast and talked about a cop, a Revere police officer, came to the scene and by the trunk of the car, and it was said he opened the trunk and found the body, and he shouldn't have really been there because he was connected to someone at the airport. This was a sticking point with one of the officers that I worked with. There was a wrong name given. I found out the union rep, the top tier, the union rep at the airport, that would be the top union person. Not
Can I
at the
stop?
office,
Can I stop you right there? Is
Sure.
Northwest Airlines Delta now? Is it Air?
Yes.
So that's Delta now, right?
Yeah.
So Terminal A. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was Terminal E at the time. I don't know what it is now.
Oh, it was Terminal E. So it was where International is now, over there at the airport. Okay.
That's
I'm
what
just
it was
trying to
at
get.
the time. At the time.
Okay. Terminal E. No shit, huh? Okay.
And just as a side note, I'm getting all over the place, but Delta still honors that reward of $250,000 for any information about Sue.
All
Yeah, I
right, Jay
heard
Brill, do me a favor. Jay Brill, do me a favor, right after this podcast, get to work, all right? Because we need that money. All right.
Same,
Anyway, go ahead.
same. Call
All
me.
right. Yeah, okay. Now go ahead.
Where was I? See, I'm like drained.
You
out.
were talking about the police officer who went to the trunk of the vehicle. He wasn't
I'm
supposed
sorry.
to be there.
Yes, I apologize. So
The top union rep.
the top union rep at the airport, which I'm not going to give it all away because I'm not going to give you all of my information, but he was a person of a lot of people had a problem with. He never was convicted that I can find of the credit card ring, and 30, I think it was 37 people were in the credit card fraud. 10 of them were in the baggage crew, but there was only a couple named. And I think we all know that some people, they talk, they cooperate, whatever, they stay out of the press. We can assume that. The cop that came on scene, the mother had said in a podcast, this is, bullshit, but I'm paraphrasing. This cop shouldn't have ever opened the trunk whenever he's connected to someone at the airport. The cop I'm working with said he thought he knew who that was, and she got the name wrong. And I did a lot of digging and found in a old photo of Inside Edition, and this cop was pictured by the trunk, his face right there.
Yeah, I got that
the
picture.
brother of the union rep. Is the brother of the union rep. So the union rep
Whitey and Billy.
the big guy at Northwest who got fired right after all this was going down.
So the
that's
union
it.
rep got fired.
He got fired.
And what about the
And that
police
doesn't
officer?
mean,
How
again,
long was this now that wasn't Zani, was it? That wasn't Detective Zani. That was a motherfucker out there. Zani. Ooh, he was a motherfucker.
I love it. I'm so afraid. Like, you just name names. You guys just say it and say all.
I know.
What,
We're always like,
Zani? You know who I'm talking about? Zani? Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
I don't know Zani, and I know pretty much every RPG in
If you're
in the
from
90s.
listen, go ahead and name drop Detective Zani to your boys, man. Woo! He came over to us Slim boys, man, because my man Angelo and Vinny that used to have the shop. I ain't gonna throw them out there, but then you had what's his name, Fat Richie. That was you guys know Fat Richie. You know Fat Richie?
Yeah, he cashed my checks.
Yeah. Well, of
Right,
course.
we talked
And,
about
he cashed- Yeah, Fat Richie.
Fat Richie's in pretty much every book I write.
Yeah. So you had Fat Richie. You had my boy Eddie, who's Gigi's brother, Eddie Patella. That's my guy. And he just so his brother Gigi just came home. But anyway, Fat Richie used to be like a big fence, you know what I mean, with the booster. They ran the flea market. So whatever you could get with the booster and shit come through, you give it to Fat Richie. You come with the bag, you could give him whatever.
That's what my crew did.
Yeah,
This is
I'm
what
sure
her
they
new
did.
book is. Literally, JFK. You would actually, I say it's a guy's book. Her new book is
Mhm.
called Drive City. This is what it's about. Literally, you guys would love it. You would love it. You would read it
So
in 5 days.
we were by the Constitution Ave projects, right? Right where I lived later on in life. But all my boys are from my boy Milky, my boy Jamie. You know Jamie Gordino?
Yeah.
From Revere. So Jamie Gordino, Milky, Whitey, everybody, man. Jamie O'Connell, all the boys, man, from Revere, all the Revere kids. Ray 40, Eddie Grabalisi, all them dudes. I know all the Revere
Oh,
cats.
Eddie Grabalisi.
What's Eddie
Yeah.
Grabalisi doing? I don't know.
He's sitting on the front. He's probably sitting on the court side like he always is. He's just got money.
He was so cute.
He's always got the money. Him and Dave. Dave's
They
my
were
boy too.
two black families in Revere.
Yeah.
The Joneses
Yeah, you know
and the
exactly who they were.
Grabalisis.
Yeah. They're my
Yeah.
boys though, because what happened was two of my boys, my boy John and my boy Robin, two brothers, they were from Kerwin Circle projects in Lynn. And ironically, their grandparents lived in the Constitution Ave projects. But see, when I moved to Lynn when I was in the second grade. So I lived on Shirley Ave. So prior, but back when Shirley Ave was like a different place, right?
Yeah.
Was it Jewish?
No, it was just, man, I almost got kidnapped on my big wheel, but that's another story. But yeah, I used to go to Liberty School. Then I moved to Cleveland Street in Revere, and I went to Paul Revere. And then my mother, because my dad
That's my school.
Oh, you went to Paul Revere?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I went to Paul Revere in the second grade. I went there for like maybe 6 months. And then my mom's, trying to get away from my dad because my dad was crazy. He was a Charlestown. Yo, dude, wah. He's one of them dudes. So he was,
Carrie would
so
like
mom-
him. Carrie would like
yeah,
him.
so my mom's got away from him and she moved to Lynn. And I don't think she realized where she was moving, but where else was she going to move with 4 kids
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and whatever. So she moved to Lynn. And, but the point is, like, right around the time when I was, my whole family, my grandmother lived at 585 Revere Beach Parkway, right up the street from where you're at in Winthrop and all that, kind of right next to where it happened, right there
Yeah.
next to the airport. So, off of Winthrop Ave. So anytime I used to go out with my grandparents or my mother, we would always go to that way. We never went into Salem and Beverly. We always went into, Bradley's in Chelsea, DeMoulas at Mystic Mall. Like we always went that way. So right around I turned 11 years old, I told all my Lynn boys, I'm like, yo, you guys, man, don't know what you're missing, man. Like, let's go hit the blue line, bro, and go downtown Boston. Like, what are we doing here in Lynn? And let's go get all them Revere girls, dude. Are you fucking shitting me, bro? Let's
And
go
the
get the
Winthrop
Italian
girls.
Revere girl. Yeah, I had a Winthrop girl that lived on Almont Street for years. Right? I used to go to Brigham's with her every day, man, right there in that plaza.
We used to go there on the half days.
Yeah. You mean JFK been around? I was creeping and crawling.
Okay.
But yeah. So
Where were you when I was hanging out?
Yeah, I was out there. I was there. I might have drove by you in your mom's Buick, but anyway, yo.
God damn.
Yeah. So anyway, I told my boys, I'm like, listen, let's go to Revere. Let's go out that way. And then ironically, we was on the bus. We was on the 450 driving, and 2 dudes got on the bus at Cappy's. At Blanchard's there. And they got on. They were Revere dudes, and they got on the bus, and we were tagging, on the back of the bus, and they put their names up. And next thing you know, one of them was a little older, and I was like, yeah, man, I lived on Shirley Ave, and they ran a make on the license plate, and the kid remembered my sisters, because my sister's a little older than me, and next thing you know, we got cool. And then it was like, yo, let's meet at this time at Haymarket, or at this time, get on the bus at Blanchard's. And so then the Lynn kids connected with the Revere kids. And then we just started hanging out. And so what happened was, fast forward like 1993, we're out there just, running amok, basically. And we're by like Fat Richie, and Zani jumps out the car. And he's in my face, and he's like, listen, you fucking Lynn kids, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Go back to Lynn. Go back to Lynn. The Revere detectives.
Zani sounds familiar now.
Yeah, he was because they hated us at the carnival too, the Revere Carnival.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't like the
Yeah,
Revere.
the
And
Revere Carnival, like you just go and get shot. Like it's like ridiculous.
Yeah, but by the Lynn kids.
yeah. Well,
But
no,
the
the Chelsea kids was wild. It was the Chelsea
Yeah, I
kids.
hung out in Chelsea
No,
more
no,
than
there was
I
a
I
lot
hung
of
out in
Asian
Chelsea.
there was Asian gangs at the time. Let's be fair.
Yeah, there was. But yeah,
Yeah.
Zani, man. So there was a lot of, but the point to your point, you know, I'm taking us down memory lane. But to your point about the Revere Police, it was so corrupt. They had that
Oh my
little
God.
small Revere Police Station. I mean, it would take them to get to North Revere. Like if you ever called the police in North Revere, the time they would get from Broadway to North Revere, like by the movie, like it'd take them forever. You know what I
They
mean?
didn't
So
care about North Revere. No one
Yeah.
cared about North Revere.
yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't care, man. They didn't care. It was a tough place. But to your
And
point,
I will want to. I'll plug my next book. It's not even out yet, but again, Drive City. And you and I have talked behind the scenes about this. I said you probably don't. I don't know if you remember, but like it's crazy. Where we're from is so strange. Like I'm an author now. I'm on my 4th book.
You're a nurse.
I'm a nurse. I've traveled, but things could have went so sideways. At 17, I was in a van for get witness to aiding and abetting a murder, a double murder in Florida with the feds. I was involved with a car theft ring, and I'm not saying this to be proud. I've never spoken about this a lot.
CTA?
I'm a little older than that. They came right under me, but we were doing stuff together in different crews. I don't know if you remember when there was Governor Weld's Jeep was stolen.
Yeah, hell yeah.
This was sort of
know
this
all
crew.
about Governor Wells' Jeep. I know all about that Jeep.
Yeah, that's in this book. So it's
so you know Sean Cody? Was it Sean Cody and all them guys?
Sean Cody was older than that. Sean Cody is my book actually opens with a fictional scene with Sean Cody. Sean Cody drove through my backyard, smashed into through a fence, slipped in dog shit. It was one of the only times the police actually caught him. But but Sean Cody taught my boyfriend in high school probably like almost everything he knew. And
who was your man? What was his name?
He's dead, Rosansky. I don't know.
Rosansky.
He's Polish.
Polish. You know who also died too? Homeboy
Dennis
over there.
Lyons was in our crew. I don't know if you know Dennis.
Oh, I know
Lyons.
Dennis Lyons. Yeah, I know Dennis Lyons.
Yeah.
Dennis Lyons. Wow, he was a wild boy.
He was amazing. He was a big car thief, and he was like addicted to it. And he's actually, and I just have to say this, do you know he actually is a repo man in Illinois now?
Oh, really? Yeah,
which I find very interesting. He turns it around.
Yeah.
You know who was crazy too, but no one ever knew about? He passed away from brain cancer. Homeboy over at the gas station, the cheapest gas, right next to the movies. What was his name? Johnny. Was his name Johnny? Right next to the movies, the gas station right there.
Been there forever.
Right in front of Johnny's Food Master, the gas station right in front of Johnny's Food Master.
Right across
not there anymore, but yeah.
Johnny Sitko.
Yeah, it was Johnny Sicko. He had brain cancer. He died. He used to I forget his last name, man, but he was a good dude. But he came from money, but he was a wild boy too. Them Revere dudes was wild, man.
But no, I was involved. I was involved. I said I was involved with this murder trial in Florida. Like I was involved in this car theft ring. And it's weird because I didn't think I was a bad kid. I mean, I just didn't give a shit. I hated my parents. I grew up on addiction and all this stuff. And my first book's about a lot of that, but it's like it just sort of was. That's just how it sort of was, and not for everybody. I don't want to say that, but I was dealing some drugs. Everyone's doing drugs. We're stealing cars, but it's crazy.
I had my own apartment at 16. I mean, we just had. I mean, I lived on my own. I lived on Brad Street Ave in Revere. It was a crack house, literally. Nice. I had no idea it was even a crack house. I had no idea. I was 16 years old. They rented it to me for $375 a month with everything included. But the floors are sideways, the toilet's tipping over. But that's just how we lived. Like that's how we lived.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how we lived. And then I think you either fall into the same exact patterns or you do the exact opposite. And in our case, we started to fall into the same patterns and then did the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's like I always say this. I do this series DYS Untold. It's like the buy-in, right? Like
we know.
we
promote you.
Yeah. So like if the buy-in, man, like you said, like if you get stuck in these areas at 19, like you're just on the porch, so to speak. Yeah. Like you said, all these things, you find yourself in a crack house, and it's like it took me a while to even realize what was going on around me. You know what I mean? Like, and one time, I asked my mother that. I said, "Ma, you moved to Lynn in the middle of the crack era."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't realize what was going on, Ma?
Yeah.
She's like, "Ma, what are you talking about? It wasn't that bad." I said, "No,
Wait,
Oh,
Ma.
that's my mother. That sounds like my mother.
It was bad,
Wait,
Ma. Stop
Side
being in
note,
denial."
your grandmother was the cutest thing. I've watched that
Yeah.
clip when she's like, "You guys eat." What did she say? "You
Yeah.
boys eat." And she
Yeah,
was so
yeah,
cute. So
Yeah,
cute.
Nana. Yeah, Nana
Yeah.
held it down. Nana turned it around. If it wasn't for her, that she
Exactly.
was that was the backbone. But yeah, that's what happened back then. It was just denial. Like when you talk about it now, people are just like, nah, it wasn't that bad. Like I see people go on Facebook and say, they'll say things like, things are different now. It wasn't like that growing up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It wasn't like that when he was growing up. What do you mean? 93, 94, 92 wasn't like that? It was like that.
I think
but it
for
depends.
a lot of people, it was crazy, and we had that saying, and I know you guys have all seen that meme. It's like we were 30 when we were like 15, and we're 30 now at 50. It's that's how it felt. Like
That's how it feels now.
Up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you made it out. And where'd you grow up in Revere? What street? If you don't mind me asking.
I grew up in an apartment on the beach, and then we moved to when my dad got sober. They got a house on right off Revere Street.
Oh, okay.
By St. Anthony's Church over there.
Okay. I know where you're at. All right. So yeah, you was right down the block where I lived. I lived on Cleveland Street, right there by the dance studio, by the little kid dance studios, right across the street from the little bodega over there.
Yeah, not too far.
And when I moved out of my house, I moved to Revere because I couldn't afford Winthrop. So I lived on right around the corner from Diane's, the house that her parents owned, right across the street from St. Anthony's Church. Right next door to the little karate studio, and then I moved to Brad Street Ave to the crack house. Well, it was cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Revere. It's the backstories in Revere, like with the bank robberies, the car thieves, the boosting was real big. Just with the flea market that was out there every Sunday. There was a lot. That was eBay before eBay, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a lot of things to write about, a lot of backstories, and it's hard to put into words. I see what you guys are doing. Like it's hard to like really say it without glorifying it, right? Because it's like I have a hard time speaking on it because some of the shit we did was fucked up, but I speak on it from, like you said, from a juvenile perspective because it's like that's just what we fell into. And I talked to my boy Jimmy. Some people would call us these, other people would call it a gift. Like just to be able to make it out of that and do certain things that we did. But back then we weren't loud about things. We try to do things quiet. The whole thing was not to get caught. Nowadays, kids go on the internet, want to put it in rap songs, want to put the camera on. That was the last thing we wanted.
Crazy.
We didn't want to leave a fingerprint. You know what I mean? And now it's like, hey, look at me. So, but it's the same thing. The kids resell merchandise. The kids do what they do now. So it's kind of like the same mindset as far as the hustle, just to get yours, to get it, and that's where
you can so get addicted to the hustle. And I as much as I like left that life, I also, wherever you go, there you are. Then I married my first husband, and who did I marry? I go all the way to Martha's Vineyard. I get the fuck out of here. And then I go to, sorry, I swore, but
that's all right.
I go to Martha's Vineyard. I'm going to go to the fancy place where nothing bad happens with the beautiful people. And who do I find? A New Bedford heroin addict.
Perfect.
And I fell madly in love with him. I didn't know he was a heroin addict, but I mean, and institutionalized in jail most, did the jailhouse tattoos give it away? Nah, I just chose to like ignore some things. And
no, you were like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't see you.
So I until I did a lot of work on myself, that's what happened to me. And that I'm blessed that I got my son out of that. And it forced me to really take a hard look at myself. But that was hell on earth for me. So you have to do the work and everything. But I think where we're from, what you just said really struck me because I wasn't proud. When I look back and my friends from the vineyard, all these nurses that I worked with, and a lot of people that know me, they don't know anything about me, this next book coming out, because I don't talk about it. I'm not proud that I stole cars, or my mother, I gave, like, we ripped off Christmas would get like Jeep Cherokees, and they're filled with Christmas presents. And I gave my mother a coat and earrings out of this Jeep Cherokee. And I swear to God, she every year she'd wear that coat. Oh, remember you got me this? I can't believe I'm telling this story. And she's like, and I wanted to kill myself. I'm like, oh my God. Like, but I didn't have any, I don't know,
way to get her anything else.
It made me feel good. And then I paid for it every year because she had that friggin' coat forever.
Don't you have enough Catholic guilt to repent yourself from everything, Diane? You know this. She's guilty forever. I mean, she's yes.
Thank you,
Kev. You're all set. You're okay. You're forgiven. You're still going to heaven.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line, between glorifying and telling your story. Sometimes you have to, but see, what you're doing is you're not doing it for attention. You're doing it for awareness, and that's the difference. You know what I mean? I feel like, so like, as far as like, if you're going to glorify it, you're looking for the pop, right? But you're not doing that. You're looking for the awareness to break down the mindset, of like how it is for a kid, and like that's what you bought into. And like you said, it made you feel good. Like, my mother was poor. So if I could come home, if I could go out and make $1,000, right? And I go home and I say, Ma, here's 400. Like, it made everything smooth at home. You know what I mean? You hungry, Randy? Yeah, I'm hungry, Ma. You want some chocolate? Yeah. And then next thing you know, 3 of my friends were watching BET, we're watching MTV. Hey man, your mom's acting mad cool. Yeah, I just gave her 400.
Yeah.
You could sleep over tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, that's the way it went down. Like, we were brought up giving to our mothers. We were brought up taking care of our family. Like, I never took from my grandmother. Like, I never said, Nana, can you give me money? It was like, Nana, come here for a second. Boom, here, take this. No, Randy, I can't take that. No, take this. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we came up, because like, to your point, there was so many people who that we did hang with that really had it rough. Like, some of my friends' parents, like, compared to the way I had it pretty good compared to some of my friends' parents' mothers were smoking crack. You know what I mean? This one girl's mother that I grew up with, that I still hang with, I had checked her out recently. Her mother was a streetwalker. You know what I mean? Like, she would be walking the streets. And like, and I told her that. And like, people were like, how are you cool with that girl? Because, she had a rough childhood, a rough road. And people were like, she's this and she's that. And I'm like, bro, she grew up tough. You know what I mean? Like, hotter than all of us. Her mother, was straight running the streets when she was 13, 14 years old, coming home with different men and shit like that. So I just respect her because I seen it. But at the time when I was living it, I didn't understand it. Like, I understood it, but I didn't understand it like where I'm at now, where that voice in the back of your head kicks on and thoughts come back and you're like, wow. Holy shit, like the trauma this girl's going through. So instead of pushing her away, I say, hey, come in, let me give you a hug. That's how I am. I don't, you know what I mean? I'd rather tell my boy to come out and hang out with me, buy him a coffee, and I don't try to step on their necks. I try to give them a hug and give them love. Absolutely. But that you got to keep them still at arm's length, because you just, you don't need someone stealing shit from you if they're on that type of time.
Or moving in with you or marrying you.
Yeah,
that's what we. So when you go the other way and you decide, because it's that way you guys grew up, and I grew up too, but I grew up in a ton of addiction and stuff like that. But then it's the other piece of it that Diane and I talk a lot about on the podcast is the other people, the people that now are left with this other kind of trauma where you are constantly trying to not be in love with the chaos that was your entire childhood and live a normal life. I didn't even go to Martha's Vineyard and find a heroin addict. I went back to the kid that I was with when I was in 10th grade, and he ended up being an addict off and on for 25 years, completely almost ruined my life, almost killed me. You know what I mean? So it's the other side of it too. It's like the people that were affected by it, that got out, I'm a nurse, I own my own house, I do all that, but I live a constant battle with being raised in that environment. And it never goes away, whether you're on one side of it. And I tend to embrace those people, and I want to help them all the time because I couldn't help certain people in my life. So I want to help them. And then I end up running a home for wayward children because I have them. Everybody lives here. You know what I mean? Like I got everybody in the whole freaking Massachusetts lives in my house because that's just who I am. And I've had to slow that down a bit because I'm getting old, but then my kids are sick of it. You know what I mean? And it's time for me to take care of us. But up until, last year, the year before, whatever, I'm still living in the wake of growing up that way and wanting to scoop up and save every person because I have empathy for the way they grew up. I knew they're not just a bunch of assholes that, she's over it, but I'm going more towards her side now that I'm getting old. I'm getting older, but you like you said, you got arm's length because you don't want to get your shit stolen. And I do it over and over and over again. Come on, break bread and then they're taken from my kids. It's constant with me. So I that's my new thing is not doing that. But at 50 years old, 7 years of therapy, I still have to work that every day. So that's the other side of the coin. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a superpower you have. You too, Diane, and Carrie, you guys got that superpower. It's called compassion. You know what I mean? So like that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. You have it, but what happens is that you see the simp. You see these dudes simping. You see these people simping.
I have empathy. I don't have sympathy.
Exactly. Well, empathy. Exactly. Well,
because it took too much from you. That's why.
Well, see, the sympathy is something that you've been through to sympathize, right? The empathy is something that, you can feel it, the vibes or whatever, so to speak, right? So it's like, with in them situations like the simp, right? What, like you said, they chasing that sympathy, right? And that's I talked about this the other day. They solicit your mind with it. Like, oh, life is so fucked up. This happened, blah, blah, blah. They're constantly trying to, say how bad it is. And they're winning off that. A lot of these people winning. Dudes are getting Section 8 vouchers. They win off this shit. And it turns you, and if you're leveling up in life, right, that can turn you off. It's like, yo, man, stop like, stop simping, man. Like, come on, toughen up. Put an H on your chest. Land a fucking helicopter on that motherfucker. Handle your business, homeboy. You know what I mean? But then you don't win that way. Then you don't win that way though either, because then it's like you come off wrong. And it's like people are like, not everybody's like you, JFK. Being mean and da da da. So the best thing to do is say, hey man, live your fucking life. Do whatever you want, my man. And just pull apart. And when you check in with them, give them a hug. Love is love, but hey, you can't be invited to everything, and you don't need to answer these people because you don't owe anybody anything. Because here's the jewel. The jewel is this: you grew up where you grew up. Home is where the heart is, right? Not where you grew up, right? Where you grew up, Revere, and you went up Revere, Lynn Revere. We all lived in the same. We all ran around. We all ran amok in that same area, right? So the point is that's never going to change. So that's the problem. We get caught up in that where we feel like we need to honor where we're from. Home is where the fucking heart is. So if you're living in Florida and you feel good and safe, that's where your home is. When you're around your family, around your loved ones, that's home. Home ain't where you grew up, because that's never going to change. And I feel like that's what can make you self-sabotage. So there's the jewel.
Yeah. It's real different.
Preach, brother, preach.
Yeah. Mic check to the gods.
Mic check to the gods.
JFK, I keep saying, because we promote you all the time, because I don't know if you saw my infamous breast reduction episode where we talked about my breast reduction for 45 minutes. Nice. I was wearing first I was repping, I know Diane's going to kill herself. I was repping your hat, and we were talking about you, blowing you up and supporting and all that. And then it happened to be the same episode that we got into that. And I droned on a bit because I was a little upset about something. And Diane said, JFK is going to send us a cease and desist letter. Take his fucking hat off. He doesn't want to be associated with your breast reduction. But anyways, it was even a bit more than
he wanted to be a basketball player when she was younger, and her dreams were broken.
Let's not revisit the whole thing.
Yeah, let's not.
And I couldn't because my mother didn't get me the right bra. Anyways, whatever. Who cares?
Oh, I seen
your
that one. I
hat-
seen that. You said you were running down the court
Yeah.
and you were young and everybody and all the I seen that episode.
And
I
all
watched
the
it. I
fathers
think
and the coaches.
and all the
so
fathers.
gross.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
now
that's the
it's
shit
like all of a sudden the screen goes dark. He's like, click. Like, we're
Yeah.
just all done.
and that's the trauma though we're talking about. Like, so when you were living it, like you don't realize it. Then you get older and you're like, wow,
Oh, yeah.
these
Pissed.
fucking men were crazy.
Yeah, gross.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, that's
The
happened
trauma
to me
was
plenty of
also
times.
this episode where we recorded was a trauma too, with her talking about this for an hour and bringing you into it was a trauma.
Yeah, well, I wasn't bringing you into it. I just happened to be wearing your hat, and she just kept saying, "Jesus Christ, you're talking about this with that fucking hat on." Take it. I said, "I know." But when we do promote you and stuff, I try to say, does JFK stand for just for kids, or what? What was that? Because we talk about your docuseries and all that.
So yeah, so the reason why, so when I first started, right, my name's Randy, right? So so when I first started rapping, when I started doing it professionally, it was 1991, right? I started going hard with it, started getting into the studio, realizing the recording process, learn how to make music, performing. I hooked up with a crew called Something Different. This cat named Tron, another dude named Dre. They're big break dancers. They kind of pulled us in and they were booking us for shows. And then one of my guys, he became he got a scholarship to the Museum of Fine Arts. And once that happened, we was going to the Museum of Fine Arts like every day, and we had access to the studio, the video room, and obviously photography and things like that. So we was chilling, and we learned a lot. And so my name is Randy Rand, but I call myself the Double R. So the Double R was named by my boy Sean Mooney. He was 5 years older than me. So the Double R, Randy Rand. I call myself the Troubleshooter. So instead of the troubleshooter, I was the treble shooter. Like, I shoot it like the voice or whatever. So I was the Double R. Then years later, Rough Riders came out and they started calling themselves the Double R.
Oh, the nerds.
So yeah. So I was like, damn, man. So I had to switch the name. So I switched my name up and called myself Twice with Regret. R in my name twice. With regret. So it was R in my name twice, W/regret. So all my names are crazy. So I went with Twice with Regret for some years, right? So regret was like the concept was the only way to balance your life is you got to learn to live with regret. And I regretted that. I went to jail for some years and I came out when I was like I was like 27, when 26, 27, I came home. And them years I kind of like, I messed up my shot at the hip hop game because I had so many connections and I had to come back and relearn it and redo it. Because when I went in, it was you down with OPP. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
When I came home, it was it's the hard knock life for us. Like everything it was all switched up. It was Jay-Z. Everything was slowed down. It went from Figgity Diggity to, you know what I mean, to like LOX and shit like that. So I had to kind of relearn it a little bit and like figure it out a little bit again. And that was humbling and get back into the studio and figure, where's everybody at? So then around 2001, I came up with an idea. I was like, listen, man, everybody's name's Jay, like Jay-Z, Jadakiss, Ja Rule, everybody's Jay, man, J-Lo. It just went, so I was like, man, I need my name with a J. Because I had a distribution deal with this label called Vice Street Records out of London that was like, yo, we can print up 5,000 of your records and put them in certain stores, Tower Records, Sam Goody, in certain stores overseas. So I'm like, well, shit, if you're gonna put my records in these trays, I don't want my name to be an I, with a T, Twice with Regret, but I didn't spell it with a T. I spelled it with the Roman numerals twice. It was that. That's what the thing was, the twice, like a two, but in Roman numerals. So I was like, yo, I can't go that route. No one's going to see it. So I'm like, yo, I need to change my name with a J. So that way, because Jay-Z was popping, Jadakiss was popping, Ja Rule was popping. So my name is, so if people are flipping through, they see that and then they see JFK and they're like, oh, who the fuck is that, right? So that was one of the reasons. So then I had to come up with a reason why I'm JFK, right? So basically they killed JFK in 1963. What the fuck they gonna do to me? That was one concept. The other concept was I'm out for dead presidents to represent me. I'm out for the money. Another concept was justice for the kids.
Justice,
you know, and that's
for the kids.
yeah. So it's rap justice, you know, just keeping that traditional hip hop alive. You know, it's not what hip hop can do for you; it's what you can do for hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's like the concept of JFK, and that's how that came about as I went through, and then it just stuck. You know, so JFK. Now it's like, so it is what it is. So there's the story. There you
Can
go.
I just say, can I please just say something? I'm a woman of a certain age, and like literally, if someone says a sentence to me, I will forget it and be like, what? I have no idea what that person just said. If you were in that wife beater, I don't know. I think I would have forgotten it, but just watch. I know it. I just followed every single thing you said in your shoulders and your biceps in the wife beater.
Oh wow! Hold on.
Good Lord.
God damn. We got to take him up for that one. Kevin, take him up to 39,000. We got the Wicked Honest podcast in the house. Let's go.
Oh, goddamn.
I gotta be honest. Goddamn.
Oh, James Jackson, get on here. What are you doing? I see him in the chat.
Oh, really? That's your boyfriend.
That's my boyfriend.
Jerry loves, well, we love all of you. Yeah. But, and Kevin, did you I feel like someone styled you.
No, it's his hair. Your hair looks great, Kevin.
Your hair looks amazing.
Yeah, Kevin's killing. Where's James Jackson? Someone throw James Jackson a link. Where's he at? He needs to come up here and meet the Wicked Honest podcast.
Yes.
You at?
Seriously, dude. Come
No
on.
hat,
I
no
really
hat.
have to say, like, I'm not going to discuss what happened, but like, props to you because I just think you have a lot of balls. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, about
I said-
No, I'm not going to say. I'm not saying.
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hit the ceiling. We're done with talking about them other characters. You know, we hit that
Oh,
ceiling.
thank God! Like, cause I have to be honest. We talk about this all the time. Like, you're just better than this. You're so better than this. But
Mhm.
you are. It just clicks,
Yeah, I appreciate
I
it.
don't know, clicks, views, maybe. I don't know, but who gives a shit? Like,
No,
whatever.
no.
Yeah, I mean, it was never about clicks and views because in the end of the day, I play music, so I don't get paid off the clicks and the views.
Yeah, it's not
know what I mean?
clicks and views. It's
You know what I mean? Like
I
Oh,
know.
well,
It's just like I just feel like giving it more traction and people just flip flop into different channels and things. Like I just
so
don't-
dumb.
It's
The whole
it's
thing.
I mean-
it's so stupid. Yeah, I feel like you all are you're far too intelligent than this bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it ran its course, man. You know, it's just that we got caught up in certain things, like the Alex thing popped out. We got caught up in that. We had to, like, you know, stand strong on that a little bit. Some people, you know, had their thoughts about that, but you know, we wasn't just gonna let that situation. We had our own beliefs. We had our own beliefs about it, right? And then with James Jackson, what they were saying about James at the time,
not okay.
we wasn't gonna let
No.
that slide. But you know, we had Jay Brilla, aka, you know, and we
Balls to the
we-
wall, Jay, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
I'm gonna have
Coming
to
in
do it.
hot. Coming in
Coming
hot.
in hot.
exactly,
I
and
thought-
God
we
damn.
proved our point. We proved our point. You know what I mean? I think we proved our point. We could just sit back now and, you know, that they could say whatever they want. We're not going to react. I mean, if anything, right, they fucked up because they created their content all around us, and now we're not about that no more. So go ahead, go ahead. Let's see what your next endeavors are.
Right.
Congratulations. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're over here. We're just chilling. I ain't got nothing to say. They know where we stand, and it is
I
what
think
it
your
is.
best
So.
your best content. First of all, your best content is your music and your vibe and all
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff. But like your
Yeah.
but when you guys did the waterfall video, that was it. Like
And the Eddie
game
O'Brien
game
stuff.
changer. It was game
Amazing.
changer because you guys dissected that, and it was a game changer. And her and I don't know if I want to go back to where we're from. I watched that, and I was so shocked that no one saw that. I picked it up in 2 seconds. What was going
Yeah,
down.
we talked about that. Yeah.
And her and I would show it to each other. I'm like, you don't see what's happening right here?
Yeah.
And no
Right.
one was picking up on it. But I think also,
Crazy.
again, credit to where like anyone from like certain places, you can pick up body movement and languages and you know those languages. And when you guys did that, it was amazing to me.
Yeah.
It was like, this
It was awesome.
this should have been done. And I think a lot of people got jealous over that because what you did was amazing. And
Because it was
this
a huge
happened, man.
feat. It
This
ended up
happened.
Kevin from South
This
Boston.
happened. What's up, Kevin from Southie? What's happening?
what?
You
Listen,
can't
I
hear it. I don't think
appreciate the
Diane
thing.
can hear. You can't hear. You can't hear what I'm playing. You can hear it.
We can't hear what
music.
you're playing. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So they the way they logged in, they can't hear. So you
Oh,
guys can't hear the
shit.
music.
No.
So now, yeah, but you can though. If you want right now, you guys can log in and log back out, and you'll probably hear it. But yes, I'm playing the Kevin from South Boston. I think that's what when Higgins actually called in.
Yeah.
That's what made them. That's what made them a little upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People.
Did you girls hear the music though when I was dancing earlier?
No, I was just
No.
dancing with you, but there was no music.
Nah, there was music. There
Could
was
you hear
sometimes.
everything we just said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
hear
We
you.
heard you. When I
The
put
Eddie
the
O'Brien
so,
stuff too, though.
Yeah.
That was
Well, see, that's the same
major.
situation. It was the same situation what you guys are doing with Susan. Like
Exactly.
So what happened was me and James, like a year ago, we were talking about Eddie O'Brien. Me and James, when we used to go live, we talked about a bunch of shit. And and we actually brought up Eddie O'Brien on an episode. And me and James behind the scenes talked about he's gonna I got to log in and might be a walk with Luna too. All right, man, jump in, brother. You know you're welcome. James Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, gonna hop in. I think something happened to Diane.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah, she went black. But yeah, long story longer. We talked about Eddie like a year ago, me and James, and we always had we thought that there was a rumor that his dad did that shit. And we talked about that. We're like, yeah. And then more and more we were and then we were like, then I said to him in real time, I said, but wait a minute, they passed that juvenile law. He should be seeing a parole soon, And then just one day, after all the bullshit, we just went down that rabbit hole. We went to True Crime Garage and then we found out about the cat named Artie. And then I found out about the cat named Artie. And then probably like 2 days later, all of a sudden Jay Brill sends me Artie on True Crime Garage.
The whole interview.
So I was like, hold on a second. I think Diane's having a technical difficulty. Here she is. She's back.
Nope,
I think she
hear
what you jump on your computer? You can't hear me now? What, Kerry?
Diane, can anybody hear me?
I hear you.
Diane, can you hear me? Diane, you can hear me, right? I gotta kick you guys. No, that's what happens. It's weird. I'm gonna kick you guys.
That's what happened. I got kicked off last time earlier.
You got kicked? That's what
I
happened?
got booted. Yeah, that's what happened to me earlier.
No, I didn't boot you.
No,
That
I
shit
know,
just
but
went.
I did.
It went
I got-
circle. You seen that, right?
Yeah,
Real
he had a
seen it.
circle, and then me and JFK can hear each other, but we can hear the
Yeah.
girls, but they can't hear us.
This is
Yeah.
whack. As soon as someone logs off, it kills the. We're on computers though, so it doesn't happen to us. I think they're on their phones.
Oh,
I'm on my iPad.
Are you You're on your iPad, so that might be it. It's an iPad situation. Are you on your phone, Kevy Kev?
No, I'm on my computer. No.
So you logged into your computer now, though, or was you on your computer from the jump?
Yeah, no, I'm logged into my. Yeah, no, I always was.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's weird. It's
I
weird.
literally
Someone.
it just said.
If someone goes off,
try
it just
again.
shuts everything down.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Can you hear this right now?
5, 4,
Yep.
3,
3, 2. You hear that
Yep.
now? All right,
Yep.
so you hear the music.
Oh no, I can't hear the music. No.
No, you heard the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You didn't
No,
hear that?
I thought you meant could you hear you? Could I hear you? But no.
Oh shit.
wow, you're missing out.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on. Don't do
It
that.
sucks. Hey Diane, can you hear the music? Hold on. Can you hear this right here?
Yeah, I can hear.
You hear the music?
Can you see me?
I can see you, Diane. Can you hear the music though?
Yes, I can.
Why can you hear the music and I can't?
Diane, Diane.
I
then
just
come
went
back
off
in.
and came back on.
I just did that. Do it again.
If she logs out, right? Then Diane.
Is everybody else gonna lose it?
Diane's not gonna hear.
God damn, StreamYard.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
No.
Oh god damn. Oh
Asshole.
shit. God damn. So you got into this. Let's swing back to Susan. So I actually did a video. I actually did the video of Susan. I want to play the part where I actually went to. I went behind. I took the ride, and I came up with an idea that just something that I thought of, and I thought, well, maybe did the police not investigate? Because it's back to what you said as far as Revere Police goes. Did they even look around this area? So check it out.
Into Sue's homicide lost pace, and the case eventually went cold. A year passed, and there were still no signs of Sue's murderer being found. All her family had was many unanswered questions. There wasn't a day that went by when Marlene didn't think about the question, who could have wanted Sue dead? Marlene left Sue's room untouched, just as she had left it. Marlene couldn't gather the strength to walk in, as it would bring back a whirlwind of Sue's memories, eventually making her realize that there weren't going to be any more of those. He tried to do so before, but the pain was too much to bear. But later in 1993, when Christmas was just around the corner, Marlene finally walked into Sue's room for the first time since her murder. She wanted to get something that belonged to Sue and reminded everyone of her, so she could put it by the Christmas tree for the holidays. Upon entering Sue's closet, Marlene's eyes fell upon her daughter's briefcase lying on the floor. She opened it, and amongst the many other things that were inside, she picked out Sue's diary. Unaware of the pain coming her way, she flipped through the diary. Her heart ached as she read the disturbing revelations Sue had penned across pages. In gut-wrenching detail, Sue had described the torture and harassment she had silently endured during her time at Northwest Airlines. These were painful incidents that Sue had never shared with her family. And as the diary bore witness to Sue's suffering, she continued to speak from beyond the grave.
You know, what they were doing and things like that. And that's when it started
Beyond
to
the grave.
really escalate.
Your man JFK. I hit the ground, bro.
Yes, sir, you did.
Within those pages, Sue had talked about the disturbing graffiti and quotes that her male co-workers had etched in the airport's men's rooms, and even the cargo holds of jets. All of those were directed at Sue and were insulting, demeaning, and extremely malicious in nature. The extent of the cruelty and harassment detailed in Sue's diary left Marlene in complete shock. She was aware of Sue's struggles with her male colleagues, who were resistant to the idea of having a female boss. But the diary entries revealed a much graver situation than she had ever imagined.
She said the men gave her a very hard time. A lot of times they didn't want to do anything, and she'd get stuck doing it. And she said it really aggravated her because she knew they just didn't want her as the boss.
The situation grew even more distressing when Sue discovered a disturbing illustration on her own locker. The sketch showed a coffin adorned with Sue's name on it. Sue had finally had enough. She refused to suffer in silence anymore and took a stance by filing numerous formal complaints with both Northwest Airlines management and her union, hoping that there would be a better work environment for herself and the other female employees. However, the response from management proved to be deeply disheartening. Instead of addressing the issue, they offered Sue some cold advice, urging her to let it go. They even recommended her to not show any signs of being bothered by the harassment and instructed her to simply sit back and ignore it. But no good ever came from it. In the end, Sue always found herself alone and helpless, as anyone who would step in to defend her would face threats and abuse at the hands of their dominant coworkers. The harassment didn't end at the workplace. In her diary, Sue documented a series of distressing anonymous phone calls that she received during almost all the nights she had spent at home. She even recorded a couple of those haunting calls. In one particular unnerving instance, the caller taunted Sue with the words, "Get off our backs, Sue T. baby."
Crazy.
When she ordered the caller to reveal their identity, the caller remained silent, adding another layer of fear and apprehension to her already troubled existence. Surprisingly, Sue's diary only covered her initial 8.5 months in her new position. However, it appeared that the discrimination against her still went on at Northwest Airlines. Even in the face of such mistreatment, her determination remained steady. She confided in friends and colleagues who stood by her side and gave her the boost to stand up against her tormentors. Sue was aware that if she resigned and walked away, it would only be a win for her male coworkers who had been harassing her. She was not going to let that happen. She would continue to show up for work daily and diligently perform her job, making a statement that she wasn't going to give up. Amidst the shocking content, Marlene couldn't help but wonder if this relentless harassment might have played a sinister role in Sue's tragic murder. The diary was a chilling testament to what Sue had endured during her employment at the airport. And since it had shed new light on the possible motives behind the heinous crime, Marlene decided to let authorities in on this newfound information, hoping to bring justice to her daughter. The detectives arrived at Logan Airport and began questioning Northwest Airlines employees, who they suspected had been mentioned in Sue's diary. Deborah Mazikis, one of Sue's co-workers, said that some men in her crew resented women in a position of authority. Some came to terms with it while the others liked it. According to Deborah, Sue was always very conscientious about her job and always tried to make it a better place to work. Sue was certain that she could make a difference for the minorities and the women who worked there. Everything Marlene read in Sue's diary inched her closer towards believing that Sue was set up by her coworkers that night on September 13th, 1992. She was sure that Sue had been lured to go to the restaurant by someone she most definitely knew. According to Marlene, Sue's coworkers thought that by harassing her, they could make her quit the job and get rid of her. But when that didn't work, they resorted to doing the most horrible thing. Although the new developments in Sue's case gave detectives a new direction, they eventually led to another dead end.
Here we go. This is my theory. This is the sports bar. It was called the Esquire, I think, back then. This is where they hung out. They would hang out. Question is, did she meet somebody here? If she got taken from here and harmed here, how'd she get back there? Well, like I said, I'm going to take you around the block, and I'm going to show you how that could have happened. Now, right in back of me, you can see the exit, first exit. And when you take that exit, you take it right, and you head right into Beachmont Revere. If you don't know nothing about Revere, Beachmont is a part of Revere, by the beach, obviously, and it borders East Boston, which the airport's right up the street. So this is where they hung out. Get an idea what it's like. Not too much change. They gentrified some things, but it's basically the same. And it's cold out here. It's right before a snowstorm. And I'm out here looking around, feeling the vibes. Was she here? Did she meet somebody here and they took her from here and she ended up right behind here? Did that happen? Well, did she make it a Beachmont roast beef? But they said that she could have met somebody right here. This is where they hung out. But how'd she get behind us? Appreciate your time. Let's go for this ride. Let's go. Just took the exit off Route 1A. Driving down Revere Beach Parkway, Revere, Massachusetts. Headed into Beach section of Revere. Coming up on our right is the Revere Police Station. Coming up right about now. That was not there in 1992. Hell no, it wasn't. We are driving right into Beachmont, right where Beachmont roast beef used to be, ladies and gentlemen.
So sad.
Amazing food.
Yep. I'll put it back for you. Here we go. I'm gonna put it back. You ready? Bam! There it is.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's back.
It was like the biggest hangout too.
Yeah.
On the way home from the bars and the clubs and stuff.
3 a.m., baby. 3 a.m.
Yes, they gentrified Beachmont a little bit. This is where Beachmont roast beef used to be. There was a parking lot that sat to the back. And it got dark over there in Beachmont. And the money was still found in her car. This is where the roast beef place would actually be. And you could see in the original picture, there was a parking lot that sat to the back, a side street right here. Did she make it here? Let's go. Let's go for this ride. Let's continue.
across the street, the cameras that's pointed right here. Did they ever run that footage? And what did they see?
Right.
Did they see her body get dumped here? Or did the murder happen here? Today, I take you on a ride to show you what could have happened. Get a sense of the area. This is one of these cases that they had billboards of her, and everybody knew her face in that generation, driving through Revere. What happened to her? What happened to Susan? Why couldn't this be solved? What is the problem? Through live streaming, real-time engagement, can we get down to the bottom of it? Will someone pop up through the live stream to say, I remember something? And that's why I'm here today.
So they like snatched her up right here, right? They got her in the back of the car. They're like, don't fucking move, right? And boom. This is all there, right? Suffolk Downs, Suffolk.
Suffolk down. It was her car that she was found in.
Yeah, she was in the Tercel, but it could have been someone else following them. You know what I'm saying? In the other car.
Yep.
You know? Because this cut through was always here.
Yep.
So that would explain how they got back to Route 1A. And the question is, did they ever investigate that? You know? And so this is like, obviously it's the same shit. It hasn't really changed other than like Target and all that, you know? Same cut through.
There's always the people inside the airport. There has always been a person that they said she got a call. Don't forget.
Got a call. Yep.
Yeah. Multiple reports said she got a call. And that's what led her to go. A
Well, you gotta think about
supervisor normally wouldn't go pick up the lunches. Is
Right.
what
But you
I'm
gotta-
told.
You gotta think about it though. She gets a call, right? She gets a call, but it's September, right? It's right. Beachmont roast beef. Beachmont roast beef is right next to the beach, right?
Popping.
Right, it's popping. So that, hey, let's go. Hey, meet me over here. You know, at the Beachmont roast beef. We're by the beach. We'll go to the beach. Whatever it might be. Well, you know, whatever. And that's where, hey, get in the car, and then they took that ride. You know, and like I said, I don't know the weather that night. I would like to know if someone remembers what it was. Was it a hot night?
I believe it was just a regular. I don't think it was a scorcher, but like
Now
a
behind me
regular summer
is
night.
the old Suffolk Downs. Business was booming in 1992. And this whole area, you can see that I drove down. It's real dark at night. Now, the video I just showed you with Beachmont roast beef, it's no longer there, but there was a back parking lot, right? And it's easy that she could have got out the car and someone could have waited for her there and then pushed her into her car and took her for a ride. I showed you coming down the street, you take a left and you come back here to these dark roads. Right up the street is Orient Heights Projects. Now there's a Target and shopping plaza over here now. Like I said, this is Suffolk's Downs. What's left of it. But it's real dark back here. If you were going to come down here late night, especially around 1 a.m., nobody would see you.
No.
It would make it look like, right, that she got taken from the airport and something happened to her from the airport to Route 1A, right? But what if she made it to Beachmont roast beef? And before she got out the car, someone jumped in the car and put a knife to her neck. The drive. It came down here. It did the unthinkable. She was having problems at work. She worked the 11 to 7 shift. Some people got fired. Some people transferred. Would you believe it? This case is crazy. And like I said, through live streaming, hopefully we can spark some interest. Like I said, it's dark back here, as you guys can see. And I'm out here. East Boston, Revere Line. Your man JFK is out here trying to get an understanding of how dark it was. This never been done. Nobody really came out here to break down what could have happened. They just say, how did it happen? As we travel on, we're behind Suffolk Downs, the area of Suffolk Downs, should I say. This is a shopping plaza now. There's a Target here.
So look, you're driving back here, right? Now back then there was all trucks back here, gravel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, you're driving. Now, so they do it back there. They stab her up. They pot him, I mean, that with all due respect, R.I.P. Susan. And look, now they're going down for a long road, right? And they keep driving. Now, this diner that I'm about to show you right now, this diner was in this area, but it wasn't here at this point. The airport diner was like, it was kind of where the hangar was. It was kind of like in another parking lot place there. So this same diner was on this block, but it was set back, I think, a couple of spots back then.
You're
and
right.
They just moved it forward. So someone in that diner could have seen something, who knows? But look, now they come out and look where they're at. Boom. And they drop her off in one big circle. They pull up in Route 1A. The dude's following them. Route 1A is right there.
If you do the geographical locate, like the airport where she's found everything, it would seem to be a very solvable case because it's a very tight scene.
Right.
And we do know that she did not make it to Beachmont Roast Beef. Okay.
So you know that.
We know that.
Know that for a fact.
We know that she did not make it to Beachmont Roast Beef per the manager, for multiple sources, confidential sources.
What I'm saying is the manager, what if before she got inside the roast beef shop, they told her to get in the car?
Sure.
Or they jumped in the car with her and said, come on, you got to drive.
But is that plot? But let me ask you, we both know this area, right? So at September, early September night, that's taken a big gamble. If we're doing this, if we're thinking we're trying to shut her up because of what's going on at the airport, which we really haven't even touched on yet. There's a massive, you have in your video, but there's a massive credit card fraud ring going on that is over, approximately $7.5 million in 1992.
Yeah.
Which is a massive amount of money being stolen and coming out of the airport northwest, a lot of that terminal. So this is massive. And we sort of know that she kind of got a call. We don't know for a fact, but reports have said, multiple reports, police reports that I have not been privy to, but witness statements and accounts and confidential sources, she's gotten a call to go maybe pick the food up or meet someone. And she's a supervisor, so it is kind of strange that she's going to pick the food up. And I've been told that from people that I've spoken to at the airport that would be a little bit odd. But I've also been told that it wasn't that odd.
Well, Diane, can I circle back to something you were starting to say, but at the very beginning, but then I think we interrupted ourselves. When you were talking about you and I having a little bit of street spots and how we always, and Susan being very black and white and all that. And we were saying, one of the things that we were saying that we actually forgot to finish that thought was, and you can't blame the victim, but you kind of wish that she protected herself and said, there's a hill I want to die on, and then there's a hill I don't want to physically die on. Like, you have to have, so you can stand up. You know what I mean? Diane, finish your thought about what you were saying before, because we interrupted ourselves before we ever finished that thought. We said you don't blame the victim, but you never finished.
I'm sorry. I think I don't want to say I'm so absolutely street smart, me, Kerry, any of us, right? I think we've all been in situations that we've been like, holy shit, my street smarts didn't kick in till I'm already here and now I'm fucked. But Sue is very black and white. I've already said before, she filed grievances. She thought, to what it appears when I researched this, it seemed like she thought, and I think we've all met people like this, that like the grievances she filed with the union or Northwest would work in her favor, but it actually sort of didn't. Like, she became a supervisor because someone got promoted before her, which they shouldn't have. She filed a grievance and then they made her a supervisor. But then all of a sudden she's cleaning toilets. See how that works? And I think a lot of us know how that works. But Sue, it felt like when you got to know her that she was she was like by the book and thinking the system would work for her because she's using the system, and that's not entirely true. And I think we know people like that, and it should be that way. She should have not been harassed and treated with respect, and she pulled her own weight and probably worked harder than a lot of those guys there. But what happened was, every time she files a grievance, it seemed like she's getting more abused, more harassed, and that's
and that's something you need to. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's where you at some point you have to start to recognize that and go, is this good? Is this
Yeah, it ain't
helping
helping
me, or it's not helping? I gotta save myself now, you know.
Well, and then if you do know, and we don't know, and I just want to say this to everybody: the feds have denied that Sue was speaking to them about anything with the credit card ring.
The Fed's saying that they don't know, that she didn't know nothing about it.
That's what they have
she
said.
wasn't talking. Yeah.
Other reports have said differently, and really doesn't matter, because the person that's filing all the grievances, who just became the new supervisor, who is the harassment and all these things, can we all conclude that people might think in this ring that's been going on for a couple of years, when the heat's on, the heat is on. Couple of weeks before she died, the heat's on, the feds are in talking to everybody, and we can get into the credit card ring because it's massive and it's huge, and that can be a whole nother episode. Can we all conclude that if we're going to look at a couple of rats of what's going down, that they might have thought it was Sue? Yes, that's completely plausible, feasible, and probably.
But you're talking about a murder, though. We're talking about like that now. Now there's the question: did she get murdered because of the credit card scheme, or did she get murdered because they didn't like her?
So we have two theories right there, right? But they all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I have. They overlap each other fully, I believe, and I believe that
it's hard to say.
Do
you believe they think she was a rat, and so wouldn't that kind of blow up the spot a little bit more? You kill a girl, the supervisor, she gets found in a fucking cell, like that's self-sabotaging the whole.
Okay, so I love what you just said, because
that's crashing out. That's a serious crash out.
So what happened, guys? So JFK, right? So we have talked to multiple witnesses that are very close to this case. And what happens? So when this happens, if you are going to murder a rat, right? Is that not the last thing you sort of want to do? Because especially when you have a scheme going on like this, because
bringing attention.
What's that going to do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's just say, if we get into the credit card ring, which we should, the credit card ring was so huge, it crossed state lines. You're going to know, you guys are going to know people, you will know people in this. I've seen names that stretch Quincy, Saugus. It's because there's a group of people that work in the airport, but they have crews. This is how massive it is. There's so much money coming in, so many things. They're using their own crews. So if you saw guys in Lynn all of a sudden wearing like Rolexes or driving a vet or something, trust and believe they're probably in this ring.
Trust and believe
at the time.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to be incredibly shocked how far and where the people are today. Some of these people are in very, very big positions, very big jobs that publications like Boston Globe and the Boston Herald do not ever, they just regurgitate things.
The same
just story.
But if the mindset is like, you're ruining our shit, and let's just say what I'm thinking, my theory is that they knew the feds were watching, and they think that she had everything to do with it, and they already hated to begin with, and they're like, you know what, we're going down, because the feds are sneaky like that. The feds ain't telling you when they're coming. The feds, listen, the feds will walk up to you and shake your hand and say, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh shit. a Fed just shook my hand, and they'll be like, see you soon. That's
Yeah.
what they do. They play mind games with you. They sit in front of your house with tinted windows, with binoculars, and watch you. You can't even look in the fucking car. And they're out there, and you're like, the Feds are watching, and that's what they want. They might never come. But the fact is, they were there, and that messes up your whole hustle. So if these dudes find out the Feds are around watching them, and you're in them times where everybody's like, yo, kid, you're going to get 100 years, yo, right? They're thinking, hey, you know what? We're going to go to jail anyway. This chick, man, you know, she ruined everything, you know? And it was like, I think it was like, it wasn't done by committee. I think it was done by 2 crash outs, or maybe 1 crash out that was like, before I go, I'm leaving with a bang. That's what I think. You know what I mean? I don't think it was like where they planned it out where they're like, yeah, so listen, we kill her. And like, if we kill her, then we won't get time. I think it was just, I think it was somebody who was like so mad, and they understood what they were looking at for time, and that they were looking at, they were going to get smoked, and their whole life was going to change behind, you know, who this girl is, on her attitude or what she's about. And then based on the way they have a relationship too, it kind of gave them the incentive to do it. Like, you know, or maybe it wasn't going to do that. Maybe they jumped in the car with her and they weren't going to kill her, you know, and maybe it went too far, you know, maybe it went too far. Maybe she said, what are you going to do with that fucking knife? You know, and it's like, what? You know, we don't know. You know what I mean? It could have been a scare tactic. We don't know. And so, I mean, one guy says she got grabbed at the airport where her car was parked. See, and all these theories are cool, right? But my thing is this. You're talking about a woman who got stabbed and beat up. Where did they do that at? And when you say Beachmont, right, it's at 11 o'clock on a Monday. It wasn't 11 o'clock. It was 1 a.m., right?
Yeah.
So the last train already dipped. It's mad dark over there back then. It was darker than it was now, I tell you that. And there's that back parking lot. And if she was going to meet somebody to say what up to him or whatever it might be, if she thought she was going to say what up to somebody, it could easily be just they hit her with honey. Right, they hit her with the honey, like everything was cool. They sat in the car with her, and she thought it was all good. The next thing you know, or drive, or they came back and he's like, "Yo, let me drive. Let's take a ride down to the beach." And next thing you know, he's driving in the back of Suffolk Downs. Where you going? You know, just shut up, right? I don't know, but my thing is this: regardless of how it happened. Where did it happen? Where they beat her up, and where they kill her at, and where would they be safe to do it?
Where's the murder scene?
Well,
Where's
the thing that's very interesting
Thank you, Kev.
is the first thing that ever I wanted to know, and I researched massively, was don't forget back then the airport was under a lot of construction, right? So where did they park their cars?
Where did she park?
A lot of them parked in employee parking, which was a shuttle. Like you had to even, but the night shift was different. And scarily, I worked at the airport. I did security, which is terrifying. Before 9/11, that I did security. That's horrifying.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
But so you had to park an employee parking and take a shuttle. But it was loosey-goosey then. And then in the night shift, I've spoken to multiple people. A lot of times, because that would make no sense to me. Okay, if she's going to go get food at Beachmont Roast Beef,
right,
shortly after her shift, she's going to get on the shuttle in Chelsea or East Boston, wherever it is, go all the way to the airport, then go back on the shuttle. No, a lot of them pulled their car up right to the curb, or they parked in central parking. And I think you even still had to pay, which was right. If you know where central parking is, it's right there. Yeah. So that,
but they got cameras there too, though.
I always wanted to know where that was.
Did they in 1992?
I think so. That airport.
Cameras,
they might not have them everywhere, but I'm sure they have some type of camera.
I mean, I would think that the airport would definitely have cameras. Maybe not as they would today, but
yeah.
I don't know if they had cameras on the outside going to the parking lot and all of that. But I do know that they had, I have confidential informants. Beachmont Roast Beef had a payphone in front of it. I do remember that. And JFK, the airport diner, just letting you know, that had payphones too, just out of our own investigation. And
that's a great point you bring up, because I'm saying to myself, did she place an order at Beachmont roast beef?
No. No,
Yes.
she never did.
Yes.
No, she
Yes, she
placed
did.
the order. Oh, she never went in it. So she that's
She
how
never
they know.
picked it up.
She never picked it up.
so-
So she placed the order. So that's what I'm saying. Before she that so where would they so they're gonna snatch her there? Why not snatch her at Beachmont roast beef? It seems like
Well, what
like
if she
Michelle-
parked
Because
right
that's such a
in front?
gamble. No, that's
Yeah,
too
but-
much of a gamble. If she pulled up,
what? That parking lot's that parking lot's
No.
dark.
there is no parking lot. There's a dumpster, and there was like 2 spots. But
Yeah, no, there was a parking lot set to the back.
Yeah,
That's
but there was a
okay.
big dumpster in it. There was a big dumpster, and
Yeah,
there
but
weren't
the
that
pocket-
many
the pocket-
spaces.
Nah, there was a
That's a
huge parking lot
gamble.
set to the back.
But if there's a parking lot, if there's parking right up front, that's where you pulled.
Yeah,
You only
always
she-
right
pull-
out
you
front.
Yeah,
only
but what
pulled
I'm
there
saying
if it was
not
full
if she was meeting someone knowing she thought it was all
So that's-
gravy.
Oh, if she knew, if she was meeting someone knowing that she was meeting
Yeah,
someone.
like
That's-
if she
then
thought
someone
like if
would
she
have
thought
to
like
say, meet me on the side in the darkness. And
but no, not meet me on the side. If his car's parked back there, she gonna pull up to where the car's at.
So my
I see what
question,
you're saying. Yeah.
You
So
know what I mean?
my-
She's gonna
It's
pull
too
up to
much
where
of
the
a
car's
gamble.
at. Is it?
that when you took I will never forget Beachmont Road and that was sign so dark. Like
Yeah, it's dark.
you said meet me at Beachmont Roast Beef, I would just meet you. Like that was too much of a gamble. Like
What do
but
you mean? What are you saying? Like it's mad dark back there. Exactly. It was mad. Where else did they snatch her
because
up?
I would just pull up and if I had a parking spot in front, a parking spot in front.
Yeah, but the cabs would be in the front. The cabs. It was like I remember the cabs would sit
No.
out there back then.